Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Rockin' Beards podcast. It's episode 44. It's your boy HSR.
What up? It's Syd.
And for the next little while, as long as we got two people, the new mic set up where you can fucking hear us and it's not like stupidly quiet. So hashtag improvements. And one quick minute. In case you thought I was done, we got more mics coming, so we are fucking setting ourselves up for don't move over too much.
So many guests.
Yeah, we're setting ourselves up to be able to have 4 people, have some guests come on and join us for these reviews.
Yo, you want to come sit with us, drop us a line.
And then on the other note, we might actually go through the online routes as well and start having some shows where not everybody's in the same room. So if you want to fuck with us, let us know. Don't
fuck with us, you know?
Yeah, like in a polite and friendly way. Because we're Canadians.
Sorry if you guys see me doing this a lot today. I slept on something weird, and my back is really, really, really driving me nuts right now.
Awesome. Well, not awesome, but thank you.
Yay!
So that's the kind of tackle shit, eh?
Piece of shit.
But yeah. So let's run through the housekeeping section of the show. So if you don't give a fuck about any of that, in their description, you can jump ahead to when the episode starts. But please, before you do, let's do everybody's favorite part. Favorite comment of last week. This one is from Box. I didn't think I would sit through all of that, but that was a real review. Great work. I posted it to the Corrosion of Conformity Facebook page. I found out that their name is Cock, which I thought was interesting. It's
COC, motherfucker.
I'm just saying. That was my first thought. But yeah, you're right. COC. Sorry. I don't mean to be offensive. It was just my first thought.
I'm offended by your comment.
Others will appreciate it. And I appreciate that because at the end of the day, what this comment reflects is what we're hoping for with every review. And it's really awesome. So thank you for such a good comment.
And I feel like fans of COC in general will appreciate our reviews because, you know, it means that they're listening to drawn out songs, thought out pieces of music, that they're fans of heavier music, of blues, of kind of the foundations of modern music in general. I'm kind of giving you guys a lot of praise right now. I give praise to other music fans too. So, you know, just everybody's cool.
Yeah,
so.
We just like the idea of growing and learning and figuring out more about music. And it's not necessarily about this is my favorite. No, it's more like this came out. Is it cool? Is it not cool? What are its merits? It's etc. Anyway,
he's gonna talk about a contest. I want to say if y'all subscribe, I can afford back medication quicker.
So check it. Before we talk about any of that, I wanted to let you know that I've gone through most of the comments and I'm almost done, and I have put together our official request list. So if you've requested an album at any point, it's on this list. You can see the whole thing in Google Doc link that will appear in the description, and there's not a lot of rock or metal or anything like that on it, so feel free to add some non-rap music to that list because there's a couple, and in the long run we're going to get to a lot of different stuff. But let's move on to the Grind to 1,000 Subscribers contest. Normally I'm more enthusiastic, but as you're well aware, YouTube has informed us that we need to hit 1,000 subscribers by February 20th, or we are not as cool in their eyes. So, to me, it's a little more personal. And if we can reach this 1,000 subscribers by February 20th, I'm gonna include a couple more prizes in this contest. That's all I'm trying to say. So we'll call it not like a stretch goal, but like a stretch goal. So what we're gonna do is, if you subscribe to the channel, if you hit the like button, and if you leave a comment related to our review or Fall Out Boy whoop spoilers in general, we will
as if you didn't know by the title that it was Fall Out Boy we were doing today.
It's not up yet. It only appears when we introduce it in the show. Shh.
But the video is called.
Yes, relax. So, you get to enter into a raffle, and as I said, I'm going through the comments, putting them out on a list. First place will get $100 of Amazon money of a US dollar equivalent, plus you get to request a review of whatever from whoever on the channel. And second place is $50 plus review. Third place is $25 a review. Regardless of if we make it by February 20th, that still happens. If we do make it by February 20th, 2 more people are going to receive $25. No review, but $25 extra dollars, because 3 reviews is a lot. But that's what's up. And if you guys like what we do, it would just mean a lot to help us achieve that milestone before that date. That's 1 month from today. And if you can help, it would mean the world, is I guess what I'm trying to say. On that note, I don't have anything more at this point, so why don't we pivot into the show?
Let's get manic.
Mania.
I know, but
All right.
I used its verbal form.
Anyway, so this is a review on Fall Out Boy's.
Verbal?
Yeah,
Adjective?
Mania.
Adverb?
I don't actually know if it's supposed to be pronounced mania, or I mean, I'm sure
I feel
it
like
is.
it's supposed to be
But
pronounced mania.
why is it all spaced out? Ugh, it's I don't know. That was my first impressions. Like, it wasn't like, okay, it did nothing for me to have those spaces in the title. But before we get into
they're
that,
so hip.
let's talk about our relationships with Fall Out Boys for all the people there. So you want to start?
Sure. My relationship with Fall Out Boy has been complicated. I feel like I've said this before. While a lot of kids in high school were listening to like pop punk and emo, and I want to preface that. Look, Green Day and Blink-182 have been like favorite bands of mine since like way back in the day, since I was like 9 years old. And I was a Warped Tour kid, but like I was the kid at the Warped Tour that was like going to see Atmosphere and Avenged Sevenfold, while everyone else was going to see like Good Charlotte and Fall Out Boy. I don't remember if they were actually ever on the Warped Tour or not. They might have been. Anyway. Suffice it to say that when Fall Out Boy came out, I was not a fan. Having said that, over the years, I have grudgingly come to accept that they are really good pop songwriters. Like, I was in a band that covered my songs Know What You Did in the Dark. Dance Dance is a great tune. If you hate on their hooks, then you're just being a hater. So that's it. I have that love-hate relationship with them. I have sat down and listened to their albums all the way through. It has not changed my opinion on them. That's where we are today.
All right. My version of that is like this. So I started CEGEP, that's Quebec version of in between high school and college. And YouTube had just popped. And then there was this video. There was that emo kid version of Sugar We're Going Down where it like obscured the lyrics and made fun of it. And that shit was hilarious to me when I was a youngster. But what it did was it introduced me to Sugar We're Going Down, which at the time I, in the cool kid way, chose to hate it. But as I got older, I've come to really dig that tune. I think it's everything that everyone hates about it, but I happen to like it. So I'm okay with it. And but that wasn't really it. It was the album after with the blue one. I don't remember the name. Like the blue sky covered one.
Infinity on High.
And that one had Dance Dance on it. And Thanks for the Memories and This Ain't a Scene, It's an Arms Race. And so like all of those were like popping off. And I bought that album. I don't remember anything but the singles, but I bought that album. And
Might have been Folie à Deux. I don't remember the anyway. Sorry.
And basically, what I realized is, first of all, their bassist, on top of his One Tree Hill stint, was quite fucking talented at creating rivetingly catchy and interesting bass hooks. Like, it's undeniable that Dance Dance has one of the most fun pop bass hooks that have come, like bass lines that have come out in a fucking, like, I don't know, man. It's fun. It's poppy. It gets you kind of hooked into it. And anyway, their lyrics were always on the more like, they kind of made me feel like the obscure out there-ness of like Panic at the Disco. It's like all over the place, elaborate, grandiose, and I love the language that they ultimately employ. So I kind of dig that too, but I don't think I've ever listened to any other Fall Out Boy project. And very recently, I went through a bunch of their music videos because I was like, wait, Fall Out Boy still makes music? Which, it's worth noting that I don't think a lot of people back in the day expected that these dudes were going to be like a 2-decade-plus fucking awesome career type band. And kudos, man. I was having this conversation recently. It's fucking incredible that Fall Out Boy is one of the bands that survived it all and came back, you know? Like,
I remember when they broke up too, man. That was one of the most public breakups. Like they all tweeted about it. They were like, "Oh, fine, I quit the band too. Fine, I quit the band too." And it was just like, "All right, guys, like keep it in your pants." But then they got back together, and it was nice. It was nice to see friends coming back together, whether or not you liked the post reunion Fall Out Boy sound or not, because it is a little different, and this record is very much post reunion Fall Out Boy.
That Century song. It was like, it really made me go back and listen to the original version of the like that song or whatever. I don't know. It's a really fascinating. I should know the name of it. I fucking actually have it all plussed on Spotify. But what's super fascinating is the original version of that song was the one that they made the MP3 file on. So I learned all that because of Fall Out Boy. And so thank you, Fall Out Boy, for teaching me stuff in those moments.
The more you know.
Plus, the Century song is a banger. Like, it is a clear and concise pop hit wonder. It's like a perfect pop song. And so that was my expectation coming into Mania, because evidently they're into pop rock, and I'm fucking happy about that, because I got no beef with pop music. I don't know how so many people do. But this cover, it doesn't do very much for me. It's kind of like a tunnel vision purple thing, and at the back is like a wave. And
you know what it reminds me of? So I've been watching The Flash a lot recently.
Okay.
It reminds me of The Room, where like that giant projection of the article from the future, like from the first episode, like Flash disappears in crisis by Iris West Allen. Like this is exactly The Room, and in the back I see that article. It's like huge on the wall, and I'm a nerd.
See, I don't understand that reference, but I'm hoping somebody out there does. And if you do, please let us know in the comments. And just because
#free the Flash, because
we do care about your opinions, and along the way we want you to comment and let us know how you think, how we can improve, how we were right, wrong, sucked, etc. And if we like yours, we'll read it next week.
Either way, you get an entry into the contest.
That too. Let's stop plugging shit. What do you feel about the title and just in general Mania? What does it do for you? Yeah, me too. Wanna talk about Young and Menace, which is just weird grammar. Live so much life, I think that God is gonna have. Fun fact: if you go on over to Genius, Pete Wentz, I think that's how you say it. He has annotated a bunch of shit. So some of my opinions are highly influenced by Pete Wentz. This was. Like, you gotta understand how little I was expecting this, and then how little I expected to like it as much as I fucking did. Like, this shit just woke me up and, like, made me feel happy and positive, and it was really upbeat, was my first thoughts. But it was lyrically interesting, and that was a common theme on the album. Corny or not, as some of the lyrics are corny, it was all interesting and well executed, so... We've gone way too fast for far too long, and we were never supposed to make it half this far. Interesting commentary on their career. And I live so much life. I think that God is going to have to kill me twice like my name was Nikki Sixx. So I Googled that, because I'm sure you might know what that means, but I didn't. And it turns out Nikki Sixx actually had his heart stopped twice. And I'm like, all right, that's like referencing cultural shit and showing some homage to what inspires them. Respectful, acknowledging their place in history. Pretty fucking interesting start to this album is all I'm trying to say. And that's like the very first verse, the very beginning of this song. And I was like, okay, I'm not bored. Very happy so far. And then I woke up in my shoes again, but somewhere you exist singing. And I'm like, what a cool way to like end that line. Like you just get this sense that as you go through the rest of the song, that they're confused. That they're dealing with like their life from like an outsider, weirdo, broken perspective, but they're self-aware enough to understand where they're at. And I checked out how old he was, the Wentz guy. I think he said 33. It might have been another one.
The bassist?
Maybe. I don't remember. I should know it, but I don't actually know which one's which. Sorry.
Pete Wentz is the bassist.
But
Patrick Stump is the singer. But I think Pete Wentz writes all the lyrics.
They're still early 30s guys, so they're a few years older than me. And what I noticed was there was a degree of relatability to some of the things I experience and people in my age group I encounter and like what they're writing about, which adds a credence of authenticity to the lyrics, where I was like, oh, they're not necessarily writing for kids. They're just kind of expressing themselves as they are, which it's weird. I just don't see a lot of 30-year-olds writing about 30-year-old shit. And that was a really nice thing for me as a 30-year-old. And that possibly skewed how I feel about a lot of this album, is that I felt like this was pop music specifically targeted at me for once. So it made me feel special. And that's cool. So... ultimately, like, you got that weird dubstep-y kind of thing. I don't know if it's dubstep, whatever it is, on the hook, which I haven't heard in so long. I felt it was kind of fresh. I could see how it was a tired effect, and it was maybe the worst move on the song. But the rest of the song is really well done. The singing is beautiful. Like, dude knows how to sing. It's well executed, and at the end of the day, I found it to be a pleasurable and enjoyable experience. Like, the music video and shit did absolutely nothing for me. But, like, I can't say this is the greatest song. Like, my whole frame of mind coming into this is like pop music. So I will put this song on at a party that my mom's at, but also kids might be at, and still fucking dig the vibe though. So it's really universally accepted, fun pop music. And for that, I'm giving this a 4.5 on 5 because I think it's an album, and we're going to go through this a lot for me, that actually achieved its goal at being everything it set out to be. And that's fucking cool to me.
I mean, look, there's definitely a lot to say about this song. It's very glossy. A lot of this record is very glossy, but they do have a strong, and they have continued to show a very strong EDM influence in their sound. And I think that they come by it honestly. They've branched out, and they've worked with other EDM artists, and they've worked with DJs, they've worked with producers, and they've worked with rappers throughout their career. This is not news. So I mean, to say that the glossiness of the record is like a sellout move or whatever, that's not, just so you know, that's not something I'm saying. Like, I appreciate it, and he does have a really, really good voice. I always find that a lot of production on a really good voice is a little bit detrimental, just because I like to hear, because he has a strong, powerful voice, and sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't. I really, really like the really lo-fi kind of piano led, very minimalist verses here. You know, kind of like the type of EDM is I'm drawing a blank here right now. It's driving me crazy because I know exactly. Anyway, but then that really dubsteppy chorus comes in, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm tired of this sound. I'm tired of kind of like the faux punches that dubstep has to offer. Like, it's the same thing as breakdowns and metalcore to me. Like, it's done. Like, it's over. Like, so I really think that there was a great song in here. I don't think that I think that they added a lot of fluff and like they looked at the song, and there was a point when the song was done, and then they just kind of kept going. That's the impression I get. It's very easily digestible. It's so, you know, it's not something that you're gonna put on, it's gonna offend people, but at the same time, it's not something that I'm gonna put on again and like find something new. Like, I heard it the first time when I heard it the first time, you know. So it's cool. Like I'm into it, but it's not.
I know you're not the most lyrical dude in general, but if there was ever a fluffy pop record where I would say it might be worth just going back from a lyrical sense and hearing what they have to say, this might be an album worth checking that out on.
Sure. I mean, I would say the same thing for like a Nickelback record, right? And it is a little bit hypocritical for me to like defend the hell out of Nickelback and at the same time, you know, kind of sit here, and I'm not really shitting on Fall Out Boy, because like I said, you can't not say that Fall Out Boy are good songwriters. It's just I felt like this wasn't the strongest opener to an album.
You're totally fine about like saying straight up like, I don't like that one sound they use, because that's basically what you said. I don't like that sound, otherwise the song's solid.
Well, I feel like the song is in pieces.
Right.
Like, I feel like there's more to it than there needs to be in terms of production, and in terms of studio tricks, and in terms of, and I just feel like they went for like a big chorus, but they went a little too meta and kind of missed the mark. I'm giving it a 3.5. Like, I didn't hate the song, but it's also not something I'm really gonna come back to, and that's
fair. I was just trying to throw in my little defense point there,
fair
but
enough.
That's why I'm a fucking champion.
And I'm back with the madness. I'm a champion of the people.
I don't know how to describe how much I fucking like this song more than I probably should, but like, I put it on and just, I'm not gonna live through this, and I'm like, yeah, buddy, if we can live through this, I can fucking do anything. I can live through YouTube fucking me over. I can live through anything and do anything, and it just kind of put me in a really good mood this morning. I'm not gonna lie. That's right, I review these albums, the official review, not the first time I hear them, but like the morning of. So gosh, this is excellent.
I reviewed
morning.
it yesterday.
Like, I'm telling you straight up, wake up in the morning in a bad mood and put on this fucking song, and you are smiling and dancing and shit. And so for that effect, this song is pretty awesome, but lyrically it kind of follows through as well. I didn't find that a lot of the songs don't necessarily have the most noteworthy lyrics to me, but the general theme, presentation, and delivery of what the songs are about was just generally profound. So this one is kind of like, yeah, there's a lot of anxiety and darkness and emotional bullshit going on inside of me. But I know deep down that if I have the faith that I can live through this, I can do anything. And I think that a song like this is a really interesting approach to taking on a subject like mental issues. Nah, fuck, I said that wrong. Like mental problems. I'm not helping my case, but you know what I'm trying to say? So like basically to approach it in a way where it's relatable, where like you can have some faith in yourself and take some control, like weather the storm and move on and get some optimism or hope up in your world. And I just can't hate on a song that's so positive and uplifting and actually has such a good hearted message and delivery behind what they're doing. So like, they didn't reinvent the wheel here in any means or so. I mean, you could probably look for a lot of reasons to go, this is not original. But what is really original for the current era of music, and it's a really relative originality, is how uplifting and awesome I felt hearing this song compared to some of the more awful or depressing shit that's come out. Like some of that Foo Fighters and Beck stuff, it was great, but it was so dismal and bleak, right? And here you just have
so good.
But here you have this like sunshine of happy music is always somehow going to come off maybe not as good as dark music to me, but this was well executed. I'm going to give it another 4.5 on 5. It's not a perfect song, but holy shit does it make me feel good, and that's important to me.
Look, I don't hate the song. I don't hate
I
the
don't know
song.
why you're defensive. You haven't said
not-
anything yet.
I felt very much the same way as I felt about the last song. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and give this the same grade as something that I really, really enjoyed, like a Queens of the Stone Age song. You know, like I'm not gonna give this a 4.5 on 5. You know, like we did Corrosions of Conformity last week. Yes, Corrosion of Conformity can be
They're so different.
can be morose, but I don't know. Look.
I'm saying
This one, I heard this song. First off, the first 25 seconds, I swear to God, I thought that was Eminem. Like I couldn't help myself. It was that same kind of like low, like it was exactly like the same low voice that he used at the beginning of like Untouchable and like Cold Wind Blows, and then he comes to and I was like, oh my God, it's Eminem, and then it wasn't. It was this guy. But they both have good voices, so I'm into that.
I did not have that experience at all.
He did not have that experience. Next thing that popped into my head was just like I was picturing like a boxing movie, kind of like a Rocky style movie, and this was just the montage to like.
Yeah, that's
And
a
I
good
was
use
like-
of this song.
It's good, but think about those songs, right? Think about those artists.
I don't care. It's
Do you know, like, this is very marketable, digestible music. It's fun. It's
So-
good to put on, you know,
Look,
in the background at a party.
it's excellently composed pop.
It's well composed pop.
This is excellently composed.
Sure. Again,
my
I'm not,
subjective
you know,
opinion.
like, personally, I'm not going to put this on again and find, like, I listened to these songs twice. I did my due diligence. I went through the record a couple times.
So like,
And I'm not going to put them on again. You know, like, I got what I needed to get out of them.
all I'm saying is this particular. I didn't plus the whole album, right? Not every
Yeah.
song had a. I might like a lot of the songs, but this particular song, it just had such a. I could see how this. It's not every day, but sometimes if I'm feeling blue, I want to know that if I live through this, I can do anything. You know, I just want some guy to say that to me sometimes, and you know what, fluff or not, cornball or not, it made me feel. Anyway, I'm repeating
That's
myself.
fair. That's fair. And if you're into that, that's cool. Like, no, you know, I'm not telling you not to listen to it.
And I'm not even saying he's probably right. These songs are probably not as good as I am making them sound from like an empirical point of view. I'm very much it was an emotional review in terms of how I felt.
And I do need to point out, I don't think that they're not good songs. Like, the songs are fine. They do what they set out to do perfectly well.
Which I love.
And that's good. Like, they are the Nickelback of punk rock, let's be honest. So I really like Nickelback. I like Fall Out Boy less. That's just what it is. There are some songs that I really liked on this record that are going to come up.
All right.
We haven't hit them yet. I gave this one a 3.5. Let's Stay Frosty, Royal Milk Tea.
Let's do it.
Even if the best of times I'm out of my mind, you only get what you
I'm not gonna lie, this song is so good. Like, there's just something about it that makes it a step above the rest of the album for me. So this is my favorite song. I'm just gonna say it. Worth noting, the physical version of the copy has a different song order. So if you acquired that version and you're looking at the order we do it in, like, what the fuck? Because I believe this one is track 1. we're doing it on the digital version of the
That's
track
what
listing.
happened, eh? That's what happened, because I was so confused when I was trying to figure out which track was supposed. I was like, anyway.
So yeah, because like on Genius, it's all listed with the physical track order, and I had to Google that. So in case you're confused, that's what happened. And I actually would like to revisit the album in the different order and see how it feels, but I didn't have a chance to do that yet. So if any of you have, it would be so cool to hear your impressions on the different order and if it changes your experience at all. But this song didn't do much for me in terms of citing specific lyrics, but the main concept of the song was interesting. It was he's observing the world and realizing some of the unfair realities, you know, like princes never become king, you know, shit's not really okay. But it kind of takes the same general energy of Champion, but if like I weather the storm, I can overcome and I can have some stuff going on and like understanding the reality. And again, it conveys this self-awareness, this positive, uplifting feel, but the music really supports it in a less cheesy pop way. Like this one, it felt like a really distinct, interesting song to me in a more like, okay, this is really well composed. Like this is, if this is a new direction for positive pop music, I could get behind what the fuck they're doing here is kind of my feeling on this track above any other one on the album. Not to discredit it, I'm going to fanboy hard on this album, but like, I dug it. I give this a perfect 5. I think if there was one song to check out, bump this one. It's fucking cool. It's got a lot of effects and stuff. I don't know how to describe the instrumentation or what specific sounds they use, but there was a lot of frequent changes in this song, and the way they layered the complexity of that and managed to put so many different pieces together, but keeping the congruent core feel. It was really good.
I like this one a lot too. This was also my favorite song on the record. It had a lot of urgency in it. I really like the way they layered on the way the percussion comes in. And what I really like, and as much as it's, you know, they're pretty basic patterns, it wasn't that like big halftime chorus that was the first 2 songs that was just like, yes, it's big and it's anthemic, but it's also, you know, sometimes it's too much. But I really appreciated the way that this song, it felt a lot tighter. It felt a lot like a single piece.
Okay, I agree with that.
And the hook was that what makes the all-time great Fall Out Boy songs great. This had that same kind of hook. So I gave this one a 4.5 on 5. I really liked it.
It was particularly good, but you know, you can hold me tight or don't. You know.
Lock, and when your stitch comes loose,
I think we should start this one addressing possibly one of the more obscure, or not obscure, one of the more, I guess, weird lyrics to me, that probably one of the weirdest ones I'm ever going to quote. And when your stitch comes loose, I want to sleep on every piece of fuzz and stuffing that comes out of you. And I just pictured him like talking to a teddy bear. And this was like a teddy bear that like broke and the stuffing's coming out. And it was just like, I've never heard it described like that. And that was a first, so it got noteworthy status. Whereas the last song was my favorite, this is actually my least favorite track on the album. There's something about the cheap snapping that it did not go over well with me. I didn't like it. I felt like this was like them. This was the most pandering move on the album, in my opinion, where I didn't appreciate it or it didn't sit as right. I'm gonna say it's a good song. A lot of what he was saying is how I a bit feel here. Lyrically, he's kind of cold and he's reserved, and he met this person, and now it's like this kind of, you know, obsessiveness with it, and like the title kind of gives you a good idea of the maturity that's implied in this relationship, like hold me tight or don't, you know, like this passive aggressive shit that we all do. So from a commentary perspective, it really follows through with this emotional, erratic theme and brings a little bit more of love and like self-security into the mix and dealing with other people. So it's really cool for the album, and it really does continue the theme in a really congruent way. But I could actually deal with not listening to this one again. On the other hand, if it came on, I recognize it's a good song and that it might even grow with me over time. So I gave it a 4 on 5 instead of the 4.5s and shit I've been delving out.
I got a little bit of a different impression from the title, and whether you love them or not, you have to admit that Fall Out Boy can be a little bit whiny, just a little bit, and just I got that like hold me tight or don't, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna do it, do it. Like and they made it all caps too, like, which is always a hit or miss thing, right? Like sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it's just, and and that's kind of the character that they play, and that's fine. Like that is their shtick, and I get it. It's just sometimes it's a little too much for me personally. Musically, this is one of those songs that really feel like you've heard it before. You're just not sure where. You know, I did actually like it a little more than the first couple tracks, but what I will say, aside from the nanas and all of that studio fluff, again, he has a great voice, and it's being buried here under a lot of production, and you know, like, I love hearing this guy's voice. His voice is one of those voices that has given me shivers in the past. Like, he can sing like nobody's business, and I know they're trying to put extra oomph and they're trying to support it, but it really doesn't need that support. Like, he is a great singer. Let his voice breathe. So that is a lot of my complaint with a lot of this record. Is just there was a lot of post-production that I think didn't need to be there.
I bet, though, just to interject, without having seen it, Anthony Fantano is going to call it shiny and glossy the way you've done.
And he probably won't like it. Sup, Anthony? We watch you sometimes.
I like his okay, just tangent time. I really enjoy Anthony Fantano when he is not reviewing music. Like, his other channel is really awesome to me, but I find his music reviews, you can just tell he never listens to the album as many times as we do, and that
you know what,
I don't like that. He does very much a first impression.
I'm a huge Slipknot fan. He hated on Slipknot's last album. I fucking loved it, but I still enjoyed watching the review because he made some good points, and I was into that. If you can't laugh at yourself, then you don't have the right to laugh at anything.
I can laugh at myself. I'm just saying I don't like the way he approaches reviews personally, but I do find them informative because, as I understand it, he's kingpin in the genre. So anyway, I'll go back.
I gave Hold Me Tight or Don't 3.8.
Fair. Do you have more thoughts on this song?
Wilson!
Is that what's next? Because
Yeah.
I think it's the last of the real ones, and you fucked up.
You are the sun and I am just the planet.
So this one, if I understand correctly, has a lot to do with the way our people approach relationships. And I felt this little lyric set that I quoted kind of surmises what I have witnessed and maybe even been privy to, or in my own life, multiple times. Because you're the last of a dying breed. Write our names into wet concrete. I wonder if your therapist knows everything about me. I'm like, damn, that's an interesting commentary on the obsessive nature of our relationship and how everybody's fucked up all at the same time. So we're a bunch of broken people engaging in codependent, obsessive nonsense. And if you look at the status of many folk on social media's relationships, you will, in fact, see the living embodiment of how this song plays out in real life. And a younger me, totally that type of person. And then, you know, I got a little bit older and realized sometimes you should not say as much. And but what I like is how they're not just making pop music here. They're capturing the essence of some realistic shit that's actually going on. Like, that's kind of like relevant. Like, it's not fake, artificial, pop created normal emotions. They're exploring what might be perceived as some adolescent shit, right? But it's also pretty clear that a lot of 30-year-olds and plus never left the early 20s and how they behave. So considering the maturity level of the age now and how the life actually Lindell Williams made a great point. Considering the life expectancy of folk has gone on higher, the need for quicker maturity has diminished, as is what happens as your life expectancy of your population increases. So in a sense, 30 really is the new 20 based on if you died 25 years earlier. And as a result, the state of like emotional shit and where we're at makes this, maybe it's an unfortunate thing, but this song felt like really like close to home in a way that maybe a lot of people might mock or criticize us for. But it made me feel that Fall Out Boy was super fucking authentic with this one, which gave it some bonus points. In general, it was a very well put together, anthemish, kind of love songy type thing that fits this album, and it felt like equal quality to most of this album, the ones I liked at least. And so I give it another 4.5 because it just is equal, as good as a lot of the other work.
I liked it. I'm not gonna say as much as he did. I mean, I liked it. Again, same thing as the last one. I felt it had a little more tension, a little more energy. I liked the beat. I know that it was, you know, essentially just a 4 on the floor dance beat, but it was uplifting. It was cool. Had a nice big hook. Gave it a 4 on 5.
Okay. So nothing more. No more comments.
Wilson.
Expensive mistakes.
Than to be loved by everybody. There's nothing more cruel than to be loved by everybody.
There are lyrics in this song that are awesome, and then there's some really bad ones. So I'm gonna
I
just.
know if you thought the one that I thought was really bad was really bad.
I don't know. I just wrote down a bunch. There were so many. If I could get my shit together, I'm gonna run away and never see any of you again. Interesting fucking line, because it could be taken in a really juvenile sense, but really when you do get your shit together, you elevate to a point where you never see your current world again. I dug that one, considering the concept of the album. I was gonna say something that would solve all our problems, but then I got drunk and I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, I've seen that happen a lot in real life too. I may have been in.
I like that line more than the one you mentioned before.
But no, it's another good line.
Yeah.
I'm just the order I wrote them down in.
Okay.
But it was really good, and it's probably something that many of us have had. And I don't really drink a lot because I can't remember what happened. And so for me, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it kind of validates why I don't drink a lot, you know. And then I'll stop wearing black when they make it darker.
That's the one.
Color.
That's the one.
I
and
mean,
they keep shoving it in your face. Like, listen to how clever this line is.
And you know what? I felt very torn on this. On the one hand, it's probably true. Like this is probably like a real sentiment to these guys. So on the hand of that, I get it. On the other hand, this was the edgiest lyric on the album, and I don't think there's any dispute on that.
Edgy.
Like, it was to the point where I sent it to like a friend, and I was like, yeah, this like 33-year-old guy or so is singing this, and somehow I still fucking dig the song. So at the end of the day, this is still pretty cool, because in a lot of cases maybe I would have been a hater, and that one lyric is just a little hard to accept, but if you get past it, it's okay. It's a fucking fantastic song. It's not even the last lyric I quoted, but because it's also got stuff like, if we hadn't done this thing, I think I'd be a medicine man so I could get high off my own supply whenever I can. Where he's like, if I hadn't done this thing, getting grounded, having purpose in my life, imagine who I would have become. And so when you really look at all of these different like fucking snapshot of lyrics and stuff, it gives you a good idea of the emotional state of the person, this protagonist of the Mania album, and I appreciate that. Okay, that's the end of the lyrics I found that were really noteworthy, but this song is definitely another one that fits this album. It addresses a lot the idea that they made mistakes, that there were things they have done wrong, and it really enhances the self-awareness side of things. End of the day, I gave this another 4.5 on 5, and I think if it had not had as much of that one lyric, it would have been pretty flawless.
I mean, look, I'm gonna go. Fall Out Boy, they're very clever with their lyrics, right? And I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but you have to understand where I'm coming from. I think that they're clever in the same way Lil Wayne is clever with his lyrics.
Okay.
And I am a Lil Wayne fan. Okay.
I'm a newly converted Wayne fan. You can see our Dedication 6 review over there if you want to see where I got converted.
Okay. So I've always thought that Lil Wayne is a clever guy with kind of like an aimless direction. Like sometimes he's got something to talk about, and sometimes he's just really clever. And that's kind of how I feel about Fall Out Boy too. Like sometimes they got something to talk about, sometimes they're just really clever. And it's clever in snippets, right? So like there's a clever line, there's a clever line, there's a clever line, let's string those together and make a song. And like I'll Stop Wearing Black, when they make a darker color, is the one they decided to focus on for this song. I'm gonna stop there. Otherwise, the song is fine. It's catchy.
It's awesome.
It's another one of those songs that like you kind of hear and you kind of go, I've heard this before. But it's got a big chorus. It's got a nice melody. I've already said what I'm gonna say about the vocal production, but the vocal delivery on this one is very, very strong, as it always is. So I'm gonna drop a 4 on it.
All right, Syd. I guess I'm gonna have to take you to church on the channel. My feelings on this song are tainted, and it's probably not that fair. But Hosier or whatever
Hosier.
he wrote the Take Me to Church song, And if you think about that song, it's fucking amazing. He fucks the girl, and it was so great that he now found God in his life. And that is one hell of a way
Which
to...
song are you talking about?
Take Me to Church. Anyway, we're not going to do it now. We can talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
But yeah, that's
okay.
how I interpret that song. You can let us know in the comments if I'm wrong or right. But anyway, then we come on to this track where he's basically saying, if you were church, I would devote myself to you fully. Which just sounds hollow to me a little bit. Like, a lot of the ideas and the wit on this album have been really, like, strong. But really, that's what this track kind of boils down to. Like, if you were church, I'd get down on my knees, confess my love, I know where to be, my sanctuary, you're holy to me. If you were church, I'd get on my knees. And I'm like, considering a lot of the rest of this album, it just felt a little weaker to me. Otherwise, it was giant, it was anthemy, it had a lot of power behind it, and it went in a slightly different stylistic direction as the album. Like, it wasn't quite the same vibe as the rest of the songs on it, so it was something a little different, which I appreciated, but I didn't like it as much, and I gave it a 4 on 5.
I dug the style. I'm not gonna lie, I dug it. At the same time, I felt like the song was way more melodramatic than it had any real right to be. But it was a switch up. Again, it's not something I'm really going to go back to. I love his vocal performance, and I love the harmonies. That's another thing they're really good at, is harmonies. But otherwise, kind of like they kind of approached gospel in kind of like a new, for lack of a better term, dubstep, which is funny because there's a lot of throwbacks to like 2013, 2012, the kind of the sounds that were going around pop music then, and it's almost like there's a sense that it's edgy and modern, but there's also a sense that it's kind of like stuck there a little bit. So I mean, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of this song.
Yeah, and if you feel like we're missing a point, I just wanted to say, just write a paragraph explaining it, and often we go back and read it and go, oh.
Yeah.
And then the next time we approach a song like this, we're a little more enlightened and a little bit better at it. So feel free to let us know in the comments why this is your favorite song or not.
I really do feel like this is a song that kids are gonna love. You know what I mean? Like, you're 13 or 14, you're in that first, second relationship, shit's getting hard, you've never really dealt with those kind of emotions before. This is a song for you. It's got the church thing, so obviously you're edgy and rebellious, and you want to talk about religion in fucked up ways. So this is for you. You're not really into metal or heavy rap, or this is kind of an accessible way to get into that kind of rebellious culture, I guess. Which is what Fall Out Boy champion a lot. Let's be honest. They're like an accessible rebellious, right? Like, they're really digestible, but at the same time, you feel a little edgy. You go to shop at Hot Topic, you got a Fall Out Boy t-shirt. That's a lot of what this song is to me. I gave it a 4. I didn't hate it. I liked the style. I just felt like it was really over the top in terms of melodrama, and I'm never a fan of that. So take away from that what you will.
And then Take Me to Heaven's Gate.
What would you give me?
Apparently I was really wrong about Take Me to Church's meaning. It's still a fucking more interesting song than the other one.
Yes, go listen to Take Me to Church.
Yeah, that one's apparently a commentary on the Catholic Church's stance on homosexuality, which is very different than my interpretation, and I may as well correct myself because before one of you do. So yeah, that happened. Now let's talk about Heaven's Gate.
Let's talk about Heaven's Gate. Let's do it.
So yeah, I admit again, like I always do when I'm wrong. I'm a wrong person many times, so feel free to call me on that shit. I like the line on this track, though. I got dreams of my own, but I want to make yours come true. So please come through, honey, please come through. Because it kind of falls back into that like obsessive nature of relationships that they've been exploring on this album. And I can't count the number of times I've either been involved in a situation, and this transcends maybe even a romantic relationship. But like, you ever had a close friend whose entire life, or you were that friend, and the whole like existence of this one person is to enhance the quality of living of like the other person, where it's like only one of them has goals, even if they both do, and everything that gets done is in the support and building up of one person's future. And I feel like this obsessive nature of codependency and this almost toxic approach to relationships is a really interesting light to shine it on. And they use some very direct and unignorable lyrics in the flaws of this way of living, while almost admitting this is how they approach it. So that's pretty cool to me from a song concept point of view. Musically, I don't know. It's pretty like beautiful. It's pretty fucking well rounded. It's pretty fucking hard to deny that this is like it doesn't sound like anything you'd expect from Fall Out Boy, but the end result is the more I listened to this song, the more I found it layered and beautiful and really an enjoyable experience. And I gave this a 5. I thought it was fucking flawless. I think this is not my favorite one on the album, but it's undeniable how good this song really is compared to the rest of the album.
Yeah, I want to correct myself a little bit, because earlier I said that Stay Frosty Royal Milk Tea was my favorite song on the record, and I was wrong. I'm just looking now and I realized that I forgot to put the grade next to my notes. This is a 5 on 5 for me as well. I really, really like this song. And you know what's cool is that we both really, really dug this song, but I interpreted it a little differently. Because it's kind of like the music is kind of like an homage to like 60s pop, right? Like the kind of thing that you'd hear in like a movie at the end where there's a prom and they're dancing and it's a sad moment. And I felt like the lyrics were kind of like a throwback to like being young, and like there's lines about like jump me over the fence, give me a wristband to Heaven's Gate. And I'm just remembering back to days when we used to be like sneaking into concerts because we didn't have the money to get in. You know what I mean? We were hanging out in alleys, drinking behind the venue, like hoping we get a glimpse of the band maybe. I really that like there was a lot of nostalgia in this song for me, and I think that there's like this song really captures really, really well a lot of what they were trying to do with the rest of the record. So I thought that was really, really cool. And what I think is cool, so there's a couple things that I think work to the detriment and work to the benefit of the record. They put it right after the song about church, and it's another one with these like big gospel harmonies, except this one I really felt like it worked a lot better.
They did that in the digital version. I don't know what the physical version order is.
Yeah, sorry. We're looking at the digital version. It's church and then it's Heaven's Gate. And this song really is like it's got a classic gospel feel too. Like it's big harmonies, huge chorus. And it's like I like that they put it after that, but I also really feel like they could have ended the record with this song. And I think it would have gone out on a really strong note. And I'm surprised that they didn't. And maybe they did in the physical, but we'll check that out. And, you know, if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me on that. But I also gave the song a 5 on 5.
Awesome. A couple more left. And the next one on our journey through Fall Out Boy's mania is Sunshine Riptide.
Driving down the coast again, the pills are kicking in, the pills are kicking.
I feel like lyrically, this song is an embodiment of literally everything Syd described about his concert-going, drinking in the alleyway life, and almost like a throwback to this other time in terms of the mentality. Almost like our protagonist is thinking back on the good old days. It is a really how I feel about it. We've got this feature from Burna Boy, who I have never heard of before this moment, but I really dig his verse. I really dig the flow, he fits the subject matter of the song, adds almost like a degree of authenticity to the track, but it also kind of left me a little bit with the feeling that they threw on this guy to justify taking, I guess it's a reggae-ish or dancehall-ish, or I don't know what the right genre is, but like to justify using the music, they brought this guy in, was my first impression of it. I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that. It was just my thought. And then they go through this track where the substance of the songwriting didn't do a lot from a lyrical perspective. There is this one part that really like stuck with me that again shows the self-awareness and consequence of his maturity. The pills are kicking in. She said, I love you till I don't. I'm just playing house. No idea what I'm doing now. There are no atheists in foxholes. The pressure is getting to me. It's time to throw in the towel. And it's like, you know, this realization that everything the way you were living, your passion, all this shit is just nothing, and then you just kind of got to give up and move on to something else. And that was really fucking interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give this one another 4.5. I love the different sound on the beat. I like the fact that, unlike the other one where they flipped it up, I thought this, like, the more I listened to it, the more it grew on me, and I really dig the vibe. I plussed it. I think I'm gonna go back to this a few more times.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I tried this one. There was so much just fuzz going on that I forgot the song was playing. It was just background noise. This is the kind of song where it's like, to me, it's like 4:30 in the morning. You're at a rave. You're coming down on some Special K. This comes on. You're into it. Otherwise, I give it a 2.
That's never happened to me, so I have no way to compare to that story. But yeah, sure. Let's go on to
I've never been there.
Bishop's Knife Trick. As much as I understand where you were coming from on the other one, maybe being an album closer, I fucking love this song as an album closer. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit put off by the title. There's something about Bishop's Knife Trick that means the song's going it's either gonna be good or bad, right? It doesn't feel like an in the middle song,
Right.
and I try not to judge by that kind of vanity stuff, but I couldn't help it in this case. And then I was so pleasantly fucking surprised. I like this line. I'm pedal to the metal, make no mistakes, and this is my pity party, and I'm living out of time. Eternal heartstroke, spiritual revolt from the waist down. And I felt like this was the most Fall Out Boy lyric on the album.
Spiritual revolt from the waist down.
And like, it made me feel like that's the Fall Out Boy that said stuff like it gave me that sense of it while still being on this album. And it still felt like it belonged here. Like, it was still approaching the same kind of subject matter and the same kind of themes. I didn't delve too deep into it at this point. I feel like there wasn't that much variety in how they approached it while still being pleasant and enjoyable. I dig the music on this. I dig the way it's put together, the way he sings, the all of it. This song is very equal in my mind to most of the other ones that I felt this way about. It's another 4.5 on 5 for me. Maybe I don't have a lot to add to this portion, but I feel like this album had a highly consistent experience, and this was just the right kind of not being what all the other songs were to bring you back down to reality and close this album up proper in the digital version, and it might not be the same one in the physical.
I don't disagree that this album has a very consistent experience. I think that I have also been very consistent with how I felt about it, and you're right, this song very much matches up with the rest of it. It's another kind of somber, halftime banger. Not a lot hook-wise. Strong vocal performance, a little too much production, kind of repetitive. Good digestible pop music, put it on a party, no one's gonna complain. That's
But,
it. It closed the record. I really do. I still feel like Heaven's Gate, and that's personal opinion, right? That's, they wanted to close the song with this record. I think that's their decision. So who am I to question it, right? Like, I just felt it didn't diverge enough to like put the bookend on the record.
Yeah.
That's it. That's just me. I gave it a 3.8 on 5.
All right, so let's wrap up this review. So for those of you just joining us, hi.
Hey.
I give this album a 4.5 on 5, and I want to just say that does not make it one of the greatest albums ever. But I think this album is one of the albums that most accomplished its goal of what it set out to do that I've heard without becoming boring and like a mess of nothing by the end of it. All 10 of these songs are tight. Like, they are well made, and it's undeniable that Fall Out Boy is a tenured band with an extremely good sense of how to write a song. And I feel like, for the most part, the biggest criticism of this album would be it's mad pop, which I'm okay with, and that, like, it's kind of fluffy and stuff and shiny and glossy, and I'm okay with all that shit. I think, other than stylistic preferences, they have proven that they can deliver a great, consistent experience, and that makes it a pretty solid album for me. It's definitely not going to be one of my favorite albums of the year or anything like that, and that is against style. But then again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the right kind of sleeper pop music that I found myself, all of these songs become my earworms and shit, which is also potential. That Century song will not leave my head. I just sing it out of nowhere sometimes. So, like, they have that power. And anyway, I dig this album a lot more than I actually thought I would. At first I was like, I'm gonna review Fall Out Boy, and now I'm like, damn, that was some good shit I'm defending now.
What I will say before I drop my grade on is that this is one of the first times that I think we've disagreed grade wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like that polarizingly different.
Yeah, which is cool. So I will say that you know they are a band that will always, no matter what, create conversation, which is good. And I'm not coming from a place where I still hate Fall Out Boy. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm like, I was a teenager. I grew up. I've learned to love some of those songs. Again, my songs Know What You Did in the Dark. That's post comeback Fall Out Boy. I fucking love it. I still love This Ain't a Scene. It's a Goddamn Arms Race. Dance Dance. You know what I mean? Like, I think they can write great hooks. I think they're really good at writing good songs. I think they're really good at writing good pop music. If you are a Fall Out Boy fan, I really do feel like this might not make your top 3 Fall Out Boy records. That's personally just coming from the stuff that I've enjoyed from Fall Out Boy.
But yo, let us know if it does in the comments.
Let us know. I'm gonna give this thing a 3.8 because, you know, I didn't not enjoy it per se. I just felt like one listen really was, with the exception of a couple of songs, obviously. One listen really was enough for me. It's very marketable. It's very digestible. It's very clean. It's very glossy. It's candy. It's stuff that it's sugary stuff that you can put on and you'll enjoy. But I really didn't feel like there was really that much to go back to. Which
I can get. Like, I mean, I acknowledge. What I like about it mostly is bringing a positive force into that pop scene and not wasting the position that they're in. And I really appreciate that from this group. And whereas a lot would just do whatever, they seem to be making the music they make, but making sure it counts. And I can't hate that in any way, shape, or form.
What I will say, and you can say this about all their records, is that if you are a fan of language, if you are a fan of the way language evolves, if you are a fan of a good turn of phrase, you will probably find little gems here that you will enjoy, because they are good at that.
Yep. Just like we're going down in an earlier round. Anyway, no, I just like that song.
Well, like they have a line in my songs, Know What You Did in the Dark. I'm in the details with the devil. I like that line.
Yeah,
That's a good line. It's cute. I'm into it. There's a lot of lines like that on this record. There's also lines like, if they made a darker shade of whatever, what is it?
If they, I would only wear it if they, I don't know, darker shade of black.
I wrote it down.
It's fine. The darker shade of black lyric from that fucking song.
I'll stop wearing black when they make a darker color. First off.
Okay,
black's a shade.
We're done. We're not doing this. Thank you all for watching our episode reviewing Fall Out Boy's MANIA/Mania, however you want to call it. And I'm pleasantly surprised with how this went. But really, how did you guys feel with how this went? This is really about the comments. It's about you guys letting us know. It's about sharing, building a community, having a couple of you having discussions. And then I'll read it after. I'm like, whoa, that was interesting. That kind of shit. So if you do comment, subscribe and like, you enter the contest. And if we can break 1,000 by Feb 20, it's good news bears for everybody. And thanks for being with us, because we care a lot about you and we want to come back and make more of these and etc. etc. And now I just feel like this is drivel. So catch you next week with something that's less Fall Out Boy.